Welcome to the first episode of the Animorphs Read-Along broadcast, where I geek out over Animorphs books and hopefully inspire other people to do it with me. So today we are talking about book number 1, The Invasion, a Jake point of view book. Obviously, this video will contain spoilers for Animorphs number 1, The Invasion, so if you haven't read it yet, go no further. In this book, a lot happens. The kids are walking through the construction site. They see a flying saucer. I love the moment when Cassie is the one who shouts, "It's a flying saucer!" Like, that part always makes me laugh out loud. They meet Elfangor, the dying Andalite prince. They meet Visser 3, who will obviously kind of become like their arch nemesis. They're introduced to Taxons, they're introduced to Andalites, they're introduced to Yeerks, and Hork-Bajir, who I called Hork-Bajor for like most of my childhood. I don't know why. They sort of get a bad feeling about the sharing, which that's such a culty name, so yeah. They figure out that the sharing is like a cover organization for Yeerks. They go to the Yeerk pool and try to save some people, fail miserably, and in the process Tobias gets trapped as a hawk forever. So one of the things I love about this book is that it's our only chance to see the kids sort of before they become the Animorphs. I love how you can already sort of see the different like roles that they're going to play, just in the way they're hanging out at the mall. Like, Jake comments on Marco's abilities as like a great analyst and a great strategist in the way he plays video games. Cassie is sort of this peacemaker already. Rachel is, you know, her tough badass person, and Jake is sort of the natural leader. When they're at the construction site, they all just sort of have this unspoken agreement that, like, Jake's the one who decides if they're going to take the powers. Jake is the one who has to go in the spaceship and get the blue box. Like, Jake just very naturally comes into this role as leader. This is sort of setting the stage for their roles in the group. At the end, Tobias is trapped in hawk form. So this is really the only book that we get to see Tobias as a kid. And if there's anything we can learn, it's just that Tobias was so, like, profoundly uncomfortable in his own skin. Like, he really feels like he has nothing to live for. Like, Tobias is the one out of all of them who really sees this as a gift. You know, this has given him a reason to live, a mission, and this ability to escape his own life. Like, Marco comments several times on how Tobias is just running away from his problems. Marco is obviously the most reluctant to join up with the Animorphs because of his dad, and that is a very important element of his character. Marco is... he's not a selfless character, but he's not a selfish character either. He's just honest and sort of, I don't know. I love Marco, though. I adore him. He is my favorite character. I love the part when Marco makes up the name Animorph. He, like, comes with the Animorph, and he's like, someone's like, "What's an Animorph?" And he's like, "Idiot teenagers with a death wish." Like, I just love that part. I love Marco. One thing I did notice, since I'm reading, like, the reprint, there's a scene in the original when Tobias turns into his cat. He and Jake are talking, and Jake thought speaks at him from human form. And the scene has, like, driven me nuts over the years, because I'm like, that is a continuity error! You can't thought speak when you're not morphed! And, like, it kept me up at night. And so in the new edition, they actually fixed that, and I was like, thank God. So I'm probably going to highlight my favorite quote from each book. And my favorite quote is, "I guess you never really know someone until you see them scared. And even scared to death, with tears running down her face, Rachel had strength to spare." But yeah, overall, I think this book does a great job setting up the story. We have the, you know, principal as a controller and a voluntary one. Intrigue. We now have Tobias trapped in a hawk, so that is a whole gold mine of, like, interesting stories. I love that Tobias gets stuck as a hawk in this book, because it's like, from the get-go, we know, like, these books are not messing around. Tobias is stuck as a hawk for the rest of his life. I think the whole book is sort of foreshadowing this event, because we keep seeing Tobias, like, going back to this form, talking about how he wants to eat mice. So he hates being human and he doesn't want to go back to his body. So we can kind of see that it's going to happen, but it's still tragic when it does. The whole time I was reading this book, though, I was like, man, what a noob fest. Like, you know, as a sort of a seasoned reader of the books, there are all these things that you, like, like, you know, never morph in front of the enemy. You know, they're morphing inside the Yeerk pool, and they're going to the Yeerk pool without any kind of actual plan, and it's like, these people do not know what they are doing, but they'll figure it out. yeah, I think that about sums it up for Book 1, The Invasion. Those are all my thoughts. If you want to keep up with this read-along, you should subscribe to this channel or follow me on Twitter. So what did you think of book number 1, The Invasion? Post your thoughts in the comments or make your own video talking about the book. On Monday, I'll be posting a video about book number 2, The Visitor. It's a Rachel point of view book, so get excited. Legal ways that you can track it down are in the description. See you Monday!